Hello guys, welcome back in Basics of Software Testing series, and in today's lesson we'll be covering STLC, Software Testing Lifecycle, and then we'll be covering basic 7 principle of testing. So let's dive in. Before we start learning what is software testing lifecycle, let's cover 3 W's: why, what and who. So why we are studying software testing lifecycle? Let's imagine you are a software test engineer and you got an application to test. So now question is how you will start your testing, or maybe how you will process with your testing, or how you will close your testing. So here comes software testing lifecycle. Software testing lifecycle covers all the stages a software goes while in testing. So now let's cover what is software testing lifecycle. So first phase is requirement analysis. Requirement analysis is the initial phase of testing. Here the testing team or member interact with business analysts, stakeholder, client, system architects and developer, and to understand the requirement completely. So let's say you are a software tester and I give you an application to test. So your first question will be the requirements, that what are your requirements? What should I test, right? So here you are gathering the requirements. Here you are gathering the knowledge of the application so that you can start testing, right? So this is the very first initial stage, that is requirement analysis. Now let's move to the second stage, that is test planning state, right? Here we determine what to test. Let's say I give you an application. Assume an Instagram application. Now the question you will have in your mind that what to test. So in this stage, what you will do is you will try to break down the features of Instagram. So let's say you will try that I'll test login page first, then I'll test my profile page first, or maybe then I'll test the post page. So you are breaking down the functionality, you are breaking down the features in this state. Then you have reporting methods, that how you will report to the client that I have tested this much, I have tested this much of application, I have tested these cases. That comes under reporting methods. So you decide what will be the reporting method. Then you decide what will be the testing methods, what types of testing you will performing on the application. Then you will be doing timelines discussion, you will be doing cost discussion, and many other important discussion comes under test planning state, right? It is very important state. So now let's move to next state. Now the next state is test design. Test design addresses how to test, means what specific inputs and data is required for a test condition. So this is the main state, and this state is for tester to decide the test cases, to write the test cases, and to decide the test data. So let's say you are testing a login page. So now you will start thinking about the test cases which you will be performing on the login page. Let's say you are testing the login button. So first you will write a case where you will entering the username, then you will entering the password, and then you will click the login button. Now you will test another case where you are entering wrong username, then you are entering correct password, and then you are clicking on the login button. Then the login should fail and some pop-up or some message should be shown that you have entered wrong username, right? So these kind of test cases and test data is decided and written in test design phase. Okay. Now let's move to the next state, that is test environment setup. Okay. So now you have your test cases written, okay? But now what happens in MNCs and organization, that we have an environment on which we run our test cases. You don't have to know what is the environment, how it all goes. You just need to know that it is a kind of a environment. Let's say you have an Instagram, right? So you will not start testing on your personal Instagram. You will not start testing those cases on your personal Instagram. So we'll have some another mock kind of Instagram on which you will be running your test cases, right? That mock Instagram, let's say one developer designed that Instagram. Now you are testing that Instagram, and so to test that Instagram, you will start running your cases on a mock Instagram, on a mock designed Instagram, right? So In this state, we are setting up the environment, test environment setup. In this setup, we verify testing environments. System is built correctly to execute the test case. Basically, it's a test environment setup and is done with the help of developers, clients, and tester. So you will not developing the environment, right? You will not be setting up the environment. Whole complete team will set up the environment. So now let's move to next state. Test execution. Now you have your test case written, you have your environment on which you will be running your test cases. So now you will start executing your test cases, right? In this step, we run our test cases on the software/test environment. Whatever software you have, whatever software you were doing testing for, you will start executing your test cases on that software. We compare test result with expected results, and if it does not match, we raise defects, bug to developers. If you have studied the lesson 1 video, right? So this could be resonating to you. We covered that how we are raising bugs and defects. So if you haven't gone through the first lesson, then please go and cover that first and then start studying this. So this was test execution phase. You are executing your test case on the environment, right? And then you will check what all cases are failing, and if there is a problem from developer side, then you will raise bug to the developer that you have made this defect, this error in the code, and now our application is failing, right? Maybe your login button is not working, or maybe there is no check on username or password field, right? You will raise bug and you will tell developer that please fix this. This is a major issue. So now let's come to the last phase. Not last, but the second last phase, okay? Test closure and completion. So now let's say you have done many test execution and it's been month that you have been doing testing, you have been running your cases on the application, and even though development is also completed, application development is done, now you are doing checking, you are doing your testing. So this is the closure phase, when you will tell the client that your application is ready, you can go with this application. So test closure/completion is a final stage of testing where all testing related activities are completed and documented. So now you have documents, you have written some test cases, right? So, and that test cases are documented as well. Test summary reports are prepared. Verify all defects are closed. We verify that all defects are closed and or not. Verify test environment is ready. And KTs means knowledge transfer is given, right? So now we are gathering whatever we have done, we are making a result, we are making a decision that yes, we can go forward, our testing is done, our environment is ready, our application is ready, and we can move live, we can go and we can give this application to end users, right? So this was test closure. So now there is one more state which is not covered in many books or on Google. That is test monitoring and control state. So this state is not the last state. I have written it in last, but this is not a last state. This state is a common state. This state goes on from the start state to the end state. That means test monitoring and control, that you can't monitor your testing, or you can't control your testing at the last, right? So what happens is we compare actual progress against the plan. We take action to make changes if we require changes, right? If our plan, whatever analysis and planning we done in the starting is not working out for us, maybe we are going on wrong direction, we are not selected right kind of testing, we are not doing proper testing. So this monitoring and control of testing is done throughout the process. Like we have, if we want to make some changes, we can stop testing, we'll make the changes, and then we'll resume with our testing. So this is a common step. This will be done throughout the software testing life cycle, right? So these were the different states for software testing life cycle. Software testing life cycle is a very important question for your interview purpose. It is also asked in exams for 5 markers or 7 markers. So it is very important for you to understand and memorize it. So let's move to next topic now, that is different 7 principles of testing. So 7 testing principles. So before I start, I want to let you know that this is not that important question for your interview purposes or for your exams. Okay, this is just an add-on to your knowledge about testing. So extra knowledge is never bad. Okay, so let's start. It shows the presence of defects, not their absence. This principle says that you can prove that these are the defects, but you can't prove that there are no more defects in your system, right? You can reduce the probability of failure of system, but you can't prove that the system will never fail, because defects are endless. It's all in your head. How much scenarios you can think of, the more you will find the defects, right? So no, we can't prove that there are no more defects in our system. Okay, now second point is exhaustive testing is impossible. So again, it is related to the first point. We can't test a system completely. We can't have a like complete test coverage of a system, right? It's again depend on your thinking capability, that how many scenarios are able to think and how much code coverage you are able to do while doing testing, right? So also, let's say you have a banking system. So if we have a banking system, we'll try to test the transaction functionality more, right? Because that's the most important part, because we want our balances to be intact. Okay, we can't have loss of money in any case, so we'll give more time to the transaction portion. So that's why we say that exhaustive testing is impossible. And even though if there are some basic cases, we can skip those cases as well in testing, right? So these two cases are kind of interdependent. Now coming to the third point, early testing saves time and money. So this is very basic point, right? If you are trying to construct a building, you will try to avoid problems in the starting point itself, right? You will not try to make changes after the building has completed. If you will try to make changes afterwards, it will cost you much more, right? And it will take much more time. So we try that if we are doing testing on a system, our aim is to find as many bugs as possible in the first state only. Before the system goes live, we try to find the bugs in our system. So early testing saves time and money. If we are trying to fix bugs later on, it takes time and it takes money, and it can hamper our complete system. A single bug can hamper our complete system. So we need to find bugs in advance before going live, right? Okay. So next point is defect clusters together. So this point states that in system there are some cases where we can find many bugs in single functionality only. Okay. So let's say again I'll take the banking example. Let's say you are testing a banking application, and you might find bugs in transaction functionality itself, right? And there are no many defects in other functionality. So we are saying that defects clusters together, because it might be case that one defect is leading to the other defect, right? One defect can lead to another defect, and that will keep on multiplying. So this states that defects cluster together, right? So this was the point. So now move to the second point, that is beware of paradox. So basically this says that if you are running your same cases again and again, then it might be that you won't be finding new issue in your system. So let's say if you are running same cases, or if you are doing same testing, let's say you are doing same testing, you are running same cases again and again on a system, then how you will get the new bugs, new defects in your system, right? So for finding new bugs and new defect, you should have updated test cases. You should keep on thinking of the cases, like what all cases I can think around it. So this says that be aware of paradox. Okay. So now 6 point is testing is context dependent. This principle says that our testing depends on the context of the system. So let's say if you are testing a banking software, your context of testing will be different, right? If you are testing an e-commerce website, your context of testing will be different from that, right? So testing is context dependent. Then point number 7, absence of error is a fallacy. So this point again is related to point number 1 and point number 2. So we can't prove that absence of error is not there, right? Absence of error is a fallacy. We can't say that there is no error in our system ever. Okay, so this was our second topic, 7 testing principles. Let's wrap up for today and let's meet in next lesson.